record our video. So everyone, welcome to Virtual Roundtable. I'm Ashley Metelsky, District Executive. And to start off, we're going to go ahead and play a little video that the council has put together for you guys. Can you guys see a video on YouTube?
Yeah.
And I'm sharing.
Yep.
I see Tom.
Hello, my name is Tom.
Can you hear it okay?
Preparedness for the Greater St. Louis.
Can you hear that okay?
Yeah.
Were you able to hear the video?
Yes.
You were? Okay.
Good video, but barely any sound.
A little more volume.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I've never done a video before, so I just wanted to make sure.
Missouri Council, and I'm here to provide
Is that better? Okay.
a few updates at the council level. First, I want to pass along wishes of good health on behalf of all of us at the Greater St. Louis Area Council. Your health and safety are our top priority. Over the past few weeks, we've all seen a major change in the world. While these next few weekends should have been filled with Pinewood Derbies, camporees, and other scouting events, we're now faced with the challenge of adapting and overcoming this obstacle in front of us. Our council has created resources to help make sure the scouting program keeps moving forward for our scouts and leaders. We hope you'll join along and share your experiences with us on Facebook and our other social media platforms. While we can't meet face-to-face, we can't all keep on scouting. A reminder that due to the ongoing threat of coronavirus, our council service centers, scout shops, and camps will all remain closed through April 22nd. This also includes a stoppage of all face-to-face scouting meetings and activities. Please know that this is a fluid situation that our leadership team is monitoring daily, and the date of April 22nd may change. Please continue to watch the council social media and council website at stlbsa.org for all of the latest information. We have unfortunately had to cancel or postpone events, and we will work to keep the council calendar updated online. At a council level, the springtime event, Parent and Pal, has been postponed to August 7th through 9th at Camp Warren Levis. The Order of the Arrow Spring Fellowship events have been canceled. Scoutmasters should be hearing from their local lodge soon regarding unit elections and how they will be conducted remotely with your units. For a quick update on camp cards, the camp card sale date has been extended until May 8th. Additional information will be coming for those scouts that have earned Cardinals game day tickets. The Cardinals are working with the MLB to revise the 2020 season. Once a revised schedule has been determined, we will provide an update regarding tickets. Please continue to enter your scouts that have sold 20 cards into the Google form at stlbsa.org/activities/fundraising/camp-cards. If you have sold all of your cards and would like to make a payment on your order, you can do so by mailing the council's payment of $2.50 per card to the MacArthur Service Center in St. Louis. Take advantage of the extended camp card selling season by keeping your unsold cards and continue selling them until May 8th. This is a fluid situation and things may change, so stay tuned for more updates. We are still knee deep in planning for an amazing summer camp experience. Early bird pricing on all summer camps have been extended to April 22nd. Please note that all camp registrations will be refunded on the unlikely event that summer camp is canceled or postponed due to the virus. This summer, we are offering 6 specialty camps that Scouts BSA and veteran youth can attend individually, with adult leadership being provided through the camp. Be sure to go to Scouts BSA Summer Camp page of our website and check out National Youth Leadership Training, STEM Week, Catholic Adventure Week, Eagle Trail, Horse Camp, and the SBRF Ranger Outpost Program. Age and rank requirements do apply. Looking a year ahead, the 2021 National Jamboree is shaping up to be an amazing experience for thousands of Scouts, venturers, adults, and staff. Troop and crews are forming now. Don't miss your chance to be a part of Scouting's flagship event. Register online at jamboree.scouting.org. As I mentioned before, we are in the second week of our digital scouting challenges. Each Friday, a new set of challenges will be released on the council's Facebook page. Program ideas for kids of all ages are included. I encourage you all to check them out and participate. Please post pictures and videos of your scouts and feel free to pass these activities into your family friends that may not be in scouting. With kids sitting at home with nothing much to do, I can think of no better time to introduce them to scouting. And leaders, we aren't leaving you out of all this fun. In the coming weeks, we're going to start online training courses for adult leaders. Keep your eyes open for details on how to complete your direct contact leader training online. Finally, I want to thank all of you for your continued support of Scouting and the Greater St. Louis Area Council. These are certainly unprecedented times, but your continued commitment to the Scouting movement will ensure life-changing programs continue for our youth. Thank you all for what you do, and thank you for attending Roundtable this evening. Happy Scouting.
All right. Did everyone hear and see that okay? Perfect. I will go ahead and Sherry, do you want to go ahead and take us away with the rest of the program?
Sure. I know there's a couple on here people on here that we don't normally see at roundtables, so we'll go ahead and get started with what they have to say. And Neil, if you're okay to talk about day camp, let's start with you.
I can definitely talk about day camp. All right. Most of this information has already been disseminated, but I'm just going to reiterate. Right now, we are planning on holding the day camp as scheduled. Now, there is the possibility, of course, we all know what's going on, that this may need to be postponed or canceled. In such an event, refunds would be offered. We are preparing some contingency plans in place for that should that happen, but we don't need to go into those right now. We are still looking for volunteers. We are looking for people to help out. So if you can volunteer, please get a hold of me. Other than that, everyone needs to know that day camp does change every year, that when you attend it as a wolf, you will have a different program than when you attend it as a bear. And then again, when you attend it as a Weeblo and as an Arrow of Light. So every year there are custom projects out there specifically tailored to each rank. Other than that, looking forward to seeing you guys all at day camp. And when this is over, Neil McGuire, over and out.
Awesome. Thank you, Neil. Let's go to Charlie Herbst with some updates about how advancement is being had.
How are we all doing this evening?
Good.
Good.
See if this will work here. See if my screen will share. So I think most everybody that's on this call probably is pretty computer savvy and internet savvy. That out on our council website is actually a coronavirus COVID-19 link that has a lot of questions to answer. Everything from camping, participation, those type of things. And so I've been working with Kim Blumenberg in St. Louis and Lisa Balbus in St. Louis on trying to come out with an FAQ for an advancement. And particularly, we're getting a lot of questions from Eagle Scouts that, you know, those infamous Eagle Scouts are going to be turning 18 pretty soon, and how are they going to get that done? So there are extensions for that. It's just a matter, it's really not a big deal. It's just a matter of filling out a form and letting the council know and showing your intention for that. So, you know, if a scout waits till after 18 and wants to turn in a form, then it's too late. So they've got to, again, they've got to be responsible for that. So on the advancement page, and again, you've heard me preach this before, is, you know, we've got to get units to start using Scout Book. Those that have Scout Book are sitting pretty right now because the information's right there. They can track the information. They can get the parents in there. They can see what's going on. And more so in the Cub Scouts than the Boy Scouts is that, you know, we're encouraging everybody to be creative. And so, you know, in Weeblos or in Cub Scouts, you know, parents, you know, check off on the different ranks, advancements, and activities and those kind of things like that. Where more so in Boy Scouts, you know, the boys have got to do that, and during a scout meeting or an outing or something, and somebody see that. And so we're asking everybody just to be creative in Scouts completing those, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So on the advancement for Cub Scouts, may parents sign off on Weeblo's narrow light requirements? Yes, through July 31st, 2020. Parents and adults can, the Scouts family can sign off on those activities. If Den is behind in advancement, can the Cub Scout work on advancement through the summer? Yes, they can. And again, it's going to be a Scouts honor kind of process on that. The fulfillment of visiting a troop or attending a troop outing for Arrow of Light. Again, we're in a virtual world right now. And so we're to do our best on that. And so I know that Troop 2 had a virtual Boy Scout meeting last night. Brian, are you all having virtual meetings with your Scout troop yet?
Yes, sir. We've had 2 so far.
Okay, so that's great. So I think that, Ron, I'll probably type up something to send you that you can send out in the newsletter from that. And so hopefully folks are paying attention to that on some of this information too, that if somebody wants to visit Troop 4, then they know to get a hold of Brian Hall and visit Troop 4 and participate virtually from that. On Boy Scouts, merit badge, merit badge requirements and ranks be modified? No, the requirement's a requirement, but taking a video or pictures or something of some project like family life, you got to do a project with your family. So taking photo of those would help from that. Scout or merit badge counselors can do online training and instruction. Again, you've got to follow youth protection with your, 2D leadership on that. Can be on the other end with the Scout and the parent from that. So again, I'm not going to go through everything, but on that website has lots of information. Up at the very top has, again, reminders what Tom Cronin just talked about in-person Scout meetings and being virtual and those type of things like that. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I have. So I know everybody on this, when I see everybody on this call here is pretty creative anyway. So we just need to answer those questions when units have them and encourage everybody to keep meeting, not just hit the pause button.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Charlie. Next, we'll have Mr. Tony Smee to talk about what's going on with Order of the Arrow.
Hey, everyone. As you know, spring reunion was scheduled for this past weekend. The Lodge Executive Committee has scheduled a tentative makeup weekend for July 24th through the 26th. Now, I realize that's only a few weeks away from fall reunion, but the officers wanted to make the effort to provide an opportunity for the ordeal candidates to complete their ordeal prior to fall reunion. There are still about 30 candidates that still need to complete their ordeal. They also thought it was important to be able to still provide that manpower for improvements at Pine Ridge. With that event disappearing, that's really the major event for the year for Pine Ridge, and it does a lot of good for Pine Ridge. And so at this point, that's tentative. They were going to make sure that they had enough people that could still attend to make the ceremonies work, to get food service out. And so it's a little bit up in the air. So we'll be publishing that once we get it confirmed. As of this evening, we still have a pre-camp work day scheduled at Llewellyn on May 8th through the 9th. I know there's been some talk about extending the no in-person events, and certainly that would be a multi-person event. So that hasn't been canceled, so it is still on the calendar. Now, this work day is open to all units and all members of each unit. It doesn't matter if they're members of the Order of the Arrow or not. And actually, it'd be a great opportunity if you guys still need camping nights for your scouts to come out and participate in the work weekend at camp. It's just an opportunity for folks to come out and help the rangers and the staff knock off a few things on their pre-camp work list to get Camp Llewellyn ready for summer camp. So, we'll keep updates about that coming forth as we know more, and certainly if we have to cancel it, we'll place that information out there also. Last week, we began doing virtual Order of the Arrow elections. The unit leaders were contacted with instructions and are in the process of being contacted by chapter leadership. We've completed 3 elections to date. We've got 1 underway right now and 4 scheduled, and we're anticipating lots more. Troops and crews should have been contacted by chapter leadership to collect citations of eligible scouts so far, along with scout email addresses in the troop and a date to begin the electronic ballot. Kind of how that works is every member of the troop that is eligible to vote will be getting a SurveyMonkey survey that is set up as a blind ballot. Those all come back to the SurveyMonkey account that I administrate. And so nobody sees the votes, nobody knows who voted for whom, and it automatically tabulates the scores. It's a simple ballot, it's got clear instructions, and our lodge chief made a short video clip, I think it's a minute long, that explains the process that is linked to the beginning of that survey, so the scouts can actually watch, and this kind of takes the place for the in-person ceremony team. It's not perfect, but it's a very good way to do it, and our youth have worked hard to make that happen. If you are a unit leader, a primary unit leader, and you have not been contacted by our chapter leadership here, send me a message or send me an email or something, and I'll make sure that you get contacted. So far, the balloting has worked great. Of the units that have finished, we didn't have any problems. There were a couple bumps as we were setting it up that we had to work through to make sure that it worked as it was supposed to. We are giving each unit 3 days. So the ballot goes out and we have a start time, say, of 5 o'clock on a Monday. We give it 3 full days and have it end on 5 o'clock that following Thursday. So it gives scouts to, if they've got issues with internet connectivity or, a parent misses the email, and I send reminder emails out for those who have not responded to that ballot. Part of it is if it were an in-person election, scouts who are new, for instance, and they don't know the scouts well enough to vote for them, would not turn a ballot in. Otherwise, that blank ballot would count against them. So in this case, they're instructed to simply close the email, close the ballot, and don't enter it. There is an option on there along with the names of the eligible candidates. There is an option to click, none of these candidates are worthy. So they can do that to count against those scouts, or they can just simply close the ballot to not vote. And so we think that covers all the different, scenarios that are present. And interestingly enough, we've had nobody mark that on any of the ballots yet. So it's been good. And we've had a few with each unit that did not return the email, return the survey. So it's working very well. We've had no complaints. Any questions about the email balloting? All right. Well, we recently took a survey of lodge members that had email and internet connections about our Turtle Tales newsletter, which is our quarterly newsletter that goes out about everything happening with the lodge. And less than 10% of those responded said that they were interested in still getting a printed copy. We spend about $400 to $500 every edition printing it and mailing it out. And it's, besides the expense, it's a little bit of a logistical issue, and it takes some manpower to get that done. And so we are going to stop mailing it to all 350 people who traditionally get it. We're going to print about 50 copies, and we're going to mail it out to those who request it and those who we know do not have internet access. And then we're going to post a PDF copy online, and we're going to email that to members. That'll get the newsletter out probably 3 weeks earlier than it would by just printing it and mailing it. It'll also allow us to do some additional content like, lots more photos and even some video links and some video content that we couldn't do with a printed copy. And it's probably going to save us $2,500 in lodge funds by not having to send that out to so many people. Our lodge corresponding secretary is Owen Statler, and he's doing a real good job with it this year. And just one last thing, and Tom kind of covered some of this, camp promotion is one of the primary duties of Order of the Arrow. And so I would just, encourage you, and I know all the units here, I'm sure, have signed up for camp, But one of the things we forget to do really is promote that camp to the scouts to actually sign up. You know, we anticipate that, you know, oh, sure, the kids are going to sign up, but in a lot of cases, they really don't. And sometimes the dates don't work, and there are alternate camps. And I would also encourage you too, you know, Camp Llewellyn is a treasure for those of us who live here, and it means a lot to us. But if we don't use Camp Llewellyn and we don't show that we want to keep that camp, it's going to be very easy for them to overlook that camp as they continue their capital planning in the council. And so, you know, the more scouts that we can go to long-term camp there, and the more weekends and other events that we hold out there, the less likelihood there is that they're going to close that camp down. And we certainly don't want to do that. And I'm not saying that they're planning that, but just in the long-term scheme of things, as our council continues to grow and we continue to gain additional properties, the expense of that property upkeep continues to grow. It's not cheap to maintain that camp, keep a ranger out there, keep everything in good shape. But we're making every effort. We've put in a new well, which is a major step for us. I think it was just completed in the last few weeks. And so, you know, we're really making an effort and investing some money in the lodge to do some major projects out there. And so I would encourage you guys to make every effort to get every scout out there that you can. So that's really all my report tonight. I hope that kind of answers your questions in the immediate future about the Order of the Arrow, and I'll answer any questions that you've got. All right, rock on.
Thank you, Tony.
You bet.
I guess, Ashley, it's your turn. Do you have anything for the group?
Of course. Sorry. Okay. Let me pull up my notes here. So again, I just wanted to send everyone well wishes, kind of going off what Tom said. I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy as much as you can. I understand that there are a lot of people out there that have essential jobs, and so I understand it is kind of hard to do that, but I just want to send well wishes to everyone. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and washing their hands, and just remembering to follow by the Scout Oath and Law. Even though we're not physically together doing scouting activities, we still want to keep in mind to follow by those. I do have some unfortunate news that we are going to have to postpone the spring camporee, just with everything with COVID. Unfortunately, we're just not going to be able to have it the first weekend in May. And so we are going to look at potential other weekends that Llewellyn's open in the summer, or even possibly having it as the next year's spring camporee. But that's something that'll be decided by all of the 6 district camping chairs and the district executives. And so units can still sign up at this point. Their money is just going to stay with the event in itself in Black Pug. And so once that new date is configured, which hopefully would be, you know, by the time the event actually happens, the funding would just be transferred over into the date of that event. So hopefully we can still have it this year, but I will keep you guys updated on that. So again, just a reminder that all offices and camps are closed until April the 22nd. If your unit, I know Charlie did a great job of talking about Scout Book advancements, but if your unit does still use paper advancements, feel free to email those to me or to tamara.smee@scouting.org. And we're still putting in administrative tasks and all that stuff, just like the office normally would operate. We're just not there in person. So again, if you have any of those kinds of items, please feel free to send those over to me. Excuse me. If your unit was planning to hold a spring recruitment, depending on if schools go back in session, we will still try to do that for you to the best of our ability. Just with the situation happening right now and things evolving daily, we're just not going to go ahead and actually plan for anything right now until we actually hear the final date that schools are going to go back and the final date that our offices are going to go back. But keep in mind, if you want to go ahead and start, if you guys are planning with your units for the rest of this year, like if your unit only was planned, or if your calendar was only planned until the end of summer, if you're planning for your fall, give us a date for fall recruitment. I mean, give that to me as soon as you can. I'd love to go ahead and start planning that and coordinating that with the schools as well. And because we'll be starting to ask for those dates as soon as program preview hits, which is next month. If program preview is going to be virtual, we will have the program guides available to you guys, probably in like the email that you got with the original Zoom link. We'll post on our Facebook page and all that stuff. So we might not have the physical versions of it, but we'll definitely have a copy of that for you guys. So just a quick update on Friends of Scouting. We've raised $41,064 to support local scouting. And we feel great about this progress so far, but there's still a lot more to be done. We know that everyone's situation is different and in no way want to offend or upset you. We held a virtual Friends of Scouting presentation on our Facebook page a few weeks ago, and we are trying to find other ways for our units to continue to operate virtually with social distancing in mind. If you're able, we're hoping that you'll make your donation today if you haven't already, so that we can assure that there's no interruption for programming when quarantines and social distancing is over. So please join me today, if you can, in giving to Friends of Scouting. And we can make it super easy by texting Ritter 20, that's RITTER 20, to 91999. And all the funding raised in Shawnee District stays in Shawnee. And I'll put that information in the group chat for us as well. And last thing I have is just please let us know what we can do to help youth remain active in scouting during this time. The Shawnee District Committee is here to assist with anything that you guys need. If you need help planning programs, if you need help with technology stuff, anything and everything, we are here to help. So I just want to thank you guys for all that you do, and wish you all the best.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I don't know if everyone is aware, but there is a group chat. If it's not showing, look at the bottom of the Zoom window for the chat and pull the chat window up. I think Tony wants to answer a question.
Yeah, the question was asked about what about candidates, ordeal members who were going to take their brotherhood questioning. Some of you may not know, the Order of the Arrow changed the brotherhood time requirement. It used to be, I think it was 10 months after earning ordeal that you could become brotherhood, effectively a year. So from fall reunion to fall reunion. Well, now they've reduced that requirement to 6 months. So in our lodge, if you became an ordeal member at fall reunion, you could become a brotherhood member at spring reunion. What folks don't take advantage of very often is that, we do brotherhood questioning, and it's more than, the purpose of that is not to make ordeal candidates for brotherhood learn that word for word. It's to help them understand the Order of the Arrow a little bit better. There is a checklist at mpetaway.org in the brotherhood section. It has the brotherhood questionnaire, and it has the application for brotherhood. Any brotherhood member can help a candidate through that process, can attest that they have completed it and sign that and turn it in at the next reunion. So we have actually a mentor in our troop that has taken a great interest in helping new ordeal members earn their brotherhood. And so he works on that at kind of sidebar troop meetings once a month or so. And it was really working great for brotherhood conversion in our troop. And if we have the makeup spring reunion in July, anyone who wants to, and if we can get the brotherhood team there, we will do a brotherhood ceremony as well. And so all that was to say that I would encourage you in your units, especially if you've got active airmen, to do that questioning. And I even hate to call it questioning, really, just to go over that information that's on that questionnaire, to have those new ordeal members learn a little bit more about the Order of the Arrow, and it might encourage them to take a role. Also, I saw a question there from Ron McAdams about how much of the council was Illinois, and I've got a map that I just snipped. I can share that maybe. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Can you see that? Can everybody see that map?
Yeah.
Yep, you're there now, buddy.
So that gives you an idea of how much territory we cover. And that's all Greater St. Louis Area Council now. And so obviously that's some logistical issues. We've got 4 Order of the Arrow Lodges currently that we're still maintaining. We're still kind of defying the national view on that they want 1 lodge per council. And I think we're going to be successful at maintaining that. But anyway, that's how much territory. Now, obviously, some of those areas are very sparse as far as numbers. So I would think that our side of the river has the largest membership, but that'll give you an idea of how much ground we're covering in our council right now. Any other questions? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Tony. All right, are we all ready to start our hazardous weather training? Everybody excited about it? All right, I am going to be turning the reins over to Ron, and I will be watching the chat. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to either send it privately or send it for the group, and I will answer it for you. All right, Ron, it's all yours.
All right. First things first, can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up? Yep. Okay, great. All right, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my second screen here, so that way that hopefully everybody will see the presentation there. So does everybody now see the first slide? Okay, great. All right, here we go. Welcome to Hazardous Weather Training. This training course is designed to help you plan and prepare for and then deal safely with hazardous weather conditions you might encounter on your scouting outing. Weather Smart training is divided into 10 topics or subject areas. For each topic, you'll experience a short presentation and then answer a question or complete an exercise to show you understand that topic. When you completed all 10 topics and the assessments, you've earned a personalized BSA Weather Smart certificate of completion, which Sherry will basically deliver electronically. Now, if you're ready, let's go ahead and get Weather Smart. So let's start with some questions about weather. So since we can't click the stuff, I think maybe if I don't know, maybe we should have thought this out a little bit ahead of time. I was going to say you could show a card that might have your answer on it. But if people wanted to unmute themselves, if you really do want to participate, we could go ahead and people could chime in on stuff or in chat. Either that's fine too. So let's go ahead and we'll read question 1. So who is NOAA? Is it A, an old man who built an ark to survive the flood? B, is it the National Organization Against Aardvarks? Or C, is it a team of U.S. government weather experts? Pretty sure that we all know the answer to this one. So of course, it's C. Which weather event or on average causes the most deaths in the U.S. in order from least to most? Is it A, heat, hurricanes, cold, lightning, tornadoes, and floods? Is it lightning, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, heat, and cold? Or is it heat, floods, tornado, lightning, hurricanes, and cold? It's all kind of those same things over and over, but believe it or not, it's C. It's heat, flood, tornadoes, lightning, hurricanes, and cold. The old weather saying, swallows flying way up high means there's no rain in the sky. Is that just a myth? Is it true because swallows actually swallow the rain? Or is it generally true due to scientific factors?
C.
Yes, it's C. It's just generally kind of true due to scientific factors. So, question 4. The largest hailstone ever recorded in the U.S. was A, the size of a baseball and actually fell in Yankee Stadium. B, was more than 18 inches around and weighed nearly 2 pounds. Or C, was responsible for sinking the Titanic. Are you having fun, Obi?
Yes.
Good. So it's B. It was more than 18 inches around and weighed nearly 2 pounds. So how many inches of snow does it take to equal the moisture in 1 inch of rain? Is it A, is it 2 inches? Is it B, 13 inches? C, 50 inches? Or D, all the above, depending on the type of snow? The answer is actually, it's D, because it just depends on the density, you know? So the safest place to be if you're caught outside during a tornado is A, standing out in the open so you can watch the sky for falling houses and old ladies on bicycles. Is it B, laying down in a ditch? Or is it C, inside a heavy vehicle like a car or truck?
B.
So yeah, you might think it might be C, you might be protected, but no, you want to get to low-lying areas. So the best way to prepare for hazardous weather on an outing is to A, wait until you reach your destination so you can see the actual weather. Is it B, don't worry about the weather, it'll probably be okay? Or C, is it check weather patterns and predictions before finalizing your plans? I know which one I would pick. It would probably be B, but no, we're going to go with C. So we're going to check everything ahead of time before we finalize our plans. So what is meant by a flash flood? Is it A, is it heavy rain accompanied by lightning? Is it B, iridescent rain with an oil slick on floodwaters? Or is it the iridescent color of an oil slick on floodwaters? Or is it C, floods occurring quickly, sometimes with little warning? I'm going to say it's C. The flash flood happens in a flash. So there's our 8 questions. So our next section is going to be about weather planning and preparation. So all outdoor scouting activities share one thing in common, and that's the weather. If it's good, if it's bad, if it's ugly. So good planning and preparation for the weather can really make the difference between having a successful outing or just being completely miserable or being in a dangerous experience or having like a dangerous experience. So step 1, when you start your planning, you want to list all of your goals for your trip. Like, what are you actually going to try to accomplish? Are you hiking? Is it an overnight camp? Are you swimming? Is it a rock climbing adventure? Next, you're going to select your destination, locations of where it might be, and the type of terrain that you're going to encounter. Are you going to be in the high mountains? Are you going to be in low areas near streams or forests or grasslands? Next, you're going to check the normal weather patterns and temperature ranges for the locale and the time of year. Good resources for this type of information include NOAA's website, which again is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And you can also check the websites that cities put out there for the recreational areas, so that way you can maybe get an idea of how to prepare. Or you can just look at like weather applications on your smartphone. Then you want to make sure that your gear and clothing that you prepare is going to match the weather that you kind of expect. Finally, the night before you leave, get a projected weather forecast and adjust your plans as necessary. NOAA Weather Radio and the National Weather Service website are excellent resources for forecasts to get more information about potentially hazardous weather conditions. It's also important to have an emergency weather plan worked out ahead of time so that every scout knows what to do in case you have hazardous weather conditions. You want to include contingencies for canceling the activities, so that way that you can use your best judgment based on weather conditions about whether to continue with that event. And you want to monitor changing conditions to ensure that you're making good decisions regarding the weather. The National Weather Service uses a rating system to alert the public about severe weather. You can look at this chart for a minute or two, and then we'll kind of go through each section. So let's just go ahead and let's look at flood real fast. So a flood watch, it's a high flow or overflow of water from a river, kind of something that takes place kind of in whatever that given time is. It can also apply to runoff or drainage down to low-lying areas. How many times when you were a novice camper did you step out of your tent in the morning and you found out that you picked the one low spot in this entire field, and there's now, yeah, my son, and there's now an inch of water sitting outside your tent. So you want to watch those things, especially for big things. We had that event a couple of years ago where some scouts lost their lives because they camped too close to the edge of a creek and the water came up, and that was it. So for tornadoes, conditions are conducive to the development of tornadoes, and you want to in close to the watch area. Sorry. And tornado warnings. Okay, so tornado watch. Conditions are conducive to the development of tornadoes in or close to the watch area. Tornado warnings is the tornado has actually been sighted by spotters in that area, so it's imminent. I think I saw something where it was one of those things where tornado watch is like looking at the menu, and the tornado warning is like the dessert is coming to your table. So severe weather watch, conditions are conducive to the development of tornadoes and other severe weather in your area. Severe weather warning, again, it's coming. You know it's coming. Tropical storm, very much the same thing. Tropical storm conditions are basically it's sustained winds from 39 to 73 miles per hour. And it's possible to happen within the next 36 hours. So you have time to get to safer place. Tropical storm conditions, the tropical storm warning is when the tropical storm conditions are expected in the warning area within the next 24 hours. So hurricane, it's the hurricane watch, again, is hurricane conditions, sustained winds greater than 73 miles per hour, possible in the watch area within 36 hours. And the hurricane storm warning is when sustained winds of 74 miles per hour or higher are expected in coastal areas within 24 hours of the alert. Hurricane warnings can remain in effect when dangerously high water or a combination of high water and high waves continue for any length of time. Even though the winds may have subsided below hurricane intensity, it's still, there could be other systems moving through. So which planning goes with which destination? So it's kind of hard to drag and drop on the Zoom meeting, so we'll just pretend. But if we were to drag number 1, we're going to check lightning and windstorm forecasts in the area. Which one might we drag that down to? Well, if I'm going to be on the water, I definitely don't want to be anywhere near lightning. So I would probably connect number 1 with the boundary water lakes. And then let's look at number 2, let's review the area history for low temperatures and snowfall during the month of our trek. Probably going to say mountains, just because that's we're at a higher altitude, and that would definitely be a concern, which means, of course, 3 is going to connect with the Slot Canyon. Check thunderstorms and rain productions, even for a few miles upstream from the trek location, because again, if you've got flash flooding, I don't want to be stuck in that Slot Canyon when all that water comes through. So our next section is to talk about lightning. And according to the next graphic, lightning is deadly. A bolt of lightning as it bursts from a cloud to the ground is one of nature's most awesome events. But unfortunately, lightning is also deadly. And every year, dozens of people in the U.S. die from lightning strikes. With over 25 million cloud-to-ground lightning strikes a year in the U.S., lightning safety is very important, particularly for scouts during outdoor activities. In scientific terms, lightning is a channel of negative charge, about 1 to 2 inches in diameter, that strikes in less than a blink of an eye. It connects with the highest positively charged object in the area, like a tree or even a person. Then, in a burst of light, a powerful electrical current streaks upwards at more than 60,000 miles per second. So the smart thing to do is to make sure that you're not the highest object in that area, or even standing under or near the highest object outdoors when lightning is possible. So here's some basic rules for lightning safety. First, lightning can strike as far as 10 miles away from a thunderstorm. So anytime you hear thunder, you're within striking distance of lightning. Seek shelter immediately. There's an old saying, if you can see it, flee it. If you can hear it, clear it. Stay inside until 30 minutes have passed since the last occurrence of thunder or lightning. If you're in or on the water, you're likely the highest positive object in that area. And since you're also floating, water is an excellent electrical conductor. So you want to get out of the water and then get indoors. If you're outdoors in a remote area without access to shelter, you want to move off the high ground, such as ridges, and off open ground when you first detect a thunderstorm. Don't stop under an isolated tree or a clump of trees or a picnic shelter or bleachers or any object exposed in an open area. Avoid all highs or metal objects such as light poles or metal fences. If the threat of lightning is great, don't huddle in a group. Spread out at least 100 feet apart. The electrical charge from lightning can travel up to 30 yards upon impact. So staying at least 100 feet apart allows you to help others who might also be injured after a strike. If you can get indoors for shelter, be sure to stay away from open windows, metal pipes, and electrical equipment like computers or corded telephones. You can also take shelter inside of a car or a truck. Just don't touch any metal objects inside. Getting inside a safe building or vehicle offers the best risk reduction from lightning. Move quickly when you first hear thunder, see lightning, or observe dark, threatening clouds overhead. Stay in a safe area until 30 minutes after you hear the last thunder clap before resuming outdoor activities. A safe building is fully enclosed with a roof, walls, and floor, and has plumbing or wiring. A safe vehicle is a fully enclosed metal-topped vehicle, such as a hardtop truck, minivan, bus, or truck. So in the event that somebody is injured by lightning, they don't hold a charge. So if you go up and touch them, they are not a battery. They're not. This is the Matrix. So if you go up, you can touch and you can help that person. So it's completely safe to give them CPR. So a couple more questions. So question 1 of 1. Now let's see what you've learned about lightning safety. So let's see which one of these statements is actually true. So lightning always strikes the lowest object in an area. That's not true. Never go indoors if there's lightning. Well, that's not true either. Should we go under metal bleachers? Is that a safe place during a lightning storm? Absolutely not. So C has to be our right answer. You should take shelter as soon as you can hear thunder. So where's the best place for a scout to be? The answer is in a depression in a heavy forest. So you can see, well, Obi just asked, he's like, what? And I'm like, well, if you look at these 3 pictures, of these 3 pictures, which one would be the safest place? Because again, this is like an activity. So would we be under a tree? No, that's not very safe. Would we be out there on open water? Absolutely not. Of these 3, the safest is that depression in a heavy forest, because we've got other objects that are taller than us, and we are absolutely the lowest thing that might have a positive electrical charge.
Why do they call it the depression of the forest?
Well, it's a depression. It's like a divot.
Oh.
So another interactive activity. So where's the best place for our scout to be of these 3 options? Is it inside the car? Is it under the flag? Is it an open area 5 miles from the lightning strike? So probably of these, it's going to be inside the car. Just because that does offer him some protection, him or her some protection. And with the rubber tires, as long as you're not touching any metal things, I mean, you are insulated from the lightning strike. So where's the best place for the scout to be in this scenario? So we can drag and drop our scouter down there? Is he going to be in a group of scouts all huddled out in the open? Are they going to be crouching in a group, or is it going to be a group of scouts entering a car? This might be a little tricky because we did say everybody needs to be 100 feet apart, but probably in this scenario, the safest thing is going to be the group of scouts getting in the car because they're getting to the safest point in these three scenarios. So our next little section is going to be cold weather. So cold weather outings can be fun, they can be exciting, and unfortunately they can be very hazardous if you're not properly equipped or prepared for extreme temperatures. Dramatic cold weather events such as blizzards and avalanches are very dangerous, but injuries and death also result from the effects of low temperatures and wind chill. Wind chill isn't the actual temperature, it's how wind and cold feels against exposed skin. So wind carries heat away from the skin. So the stronger the wind, the colder it actually feels. So right here, we've got a little gauge that we could click on and we could kind of do some stuff with that would change the wind chill. But basically, the impact, like wind chill impact, the feel of temperature. Gosh, I'll figure out words eventually, guys. Wind chill impacts the feel of temperature and impact on the skin at 40 degrees, 0 wind, feels like 40 degrees. But with 5 miles an hour wind, it's like 37, 10 miles an hour wind, it feels like 28, 20 miles an hour wind, it's 18. So what does 40 mile an hour winds feel at 40 degrees air temperature? It's with the way that the scale works, it's like 10 degrees. Pretty chilly out there. Probably good to have a windbreak. The most common cold weather dangers are frostbite and hyperthermia. It only takes 30 minutes to be exposed at negative 20 degrees to have frostbite. So the warning signs of hyperthermia or low body temperature include shivering, incoherence, drowsiness, and slurred speech. If a person's body temperature falls below 95 degrees, seek medical care if available. Otherwise, begin first aid treatment. Be sure to review first aid procedures for frostbite and hyperthermia before any cold weather trek. There are several steps to ensure a safe cold weather outing, including first, despite forecasts, weather can change unexpectedly. So always be prepared to deal with unusual cold. Your ability to stay warm or even survive can depend on how adequately you shelter, what layered clothing you have with you, and if you have a reliable heat source. And, of course, staying warm and having food and beverages with you. So for any winter outing, it's important to pack the clothing, gear, and supplies needed to survive extreme cold conditions, even if they're not in the forecast. You see, these guys are pretty well prepared. So if you need to review any, and you may need to review like your actual scout literature on techniques to create like snow shelters and things like that. There's a lot of really good information. And don't forget, there's also UKPIC training where you can actually go and do some cold weather training. That always seems to be a very fun event. So let's answer some questions. So dress in layers with wicking material next to your skin, fleece or wool above and wind or waterproof clothing on top. So do you want to dress in layers? That's what I've always heard, right? So that's actually true. Don't wear wet socks to insulate your feet. That's absolutely true. That's year round. Don't wear wet socks. Never use a combustion source such as a candle or propane cook stove in a tent for warmth. And that's absolutely true. We're not trying to deplete all of our oxygen in there. So wear boots that are waterproofed on the outside. Yeah, true. I want to keep my feet nice and warm and dry. So wear a hat even if your coat makes you feel warm. True. Mittens are warmer than gloves. Is that true or false? Well, let's see. Are people chatting? People are chatting. Mittens are actually warmer than gloves. I guess the idea behind it is you're constricting everything. There's less surface area that's exposed to the wind, so you're going to stay warmer. Before you dress in the morning, warm up clothes inside your sleeping bag. Yeah, that's absolutely true, unless you just hate being warm. Use a waterproof ground cloth under your tent. Yes, that's good advice year round. Always open your tent vents to avoid condensation inside your tent, and that is also true. Is it a good idea to snack and then exercise a few minutes before going to bed? Yeah, that's very true as well. You can anything that kind of gets your metabolism going a little bit and give you a little bit of energy overnight. It'll keep you warmer. Warm drinks in the evening can help raise your body temperature. Is that true or false? Is that true? Is it true or is that false? So it's true. It's absolutely like bring me some hot cider right before bedtime. I'd appreciate it. So let's. Do you want to sleep with a hat on or sleep with your face outside the sleeping bag so moisture will not collect inside the bag? That's absolutely true. I want to keep my head warm. I want to keep condensation. I want to keep moisture out of my sleeping bag. So great. So our next section is hot weather. Summertime camping makes you think of carefree days in the sun, but more people die from hot weather exposure than from cold, lightning, tornadoes, or any other weather-related causes. In hot weather, your comfort or even survival can depend on how you deal with the 3 H's: heat, humidity, and hydration. As the air heats up, evaporation is the way your body cools off. Your skin releases moisture in the form of perspiration, and as it dries in the air, it carries away heat. So sweating is your natural air conditioner in hot and dry, hot weather. But not so well when the air is humid or already saturated with moisture. In these situations, you need to create air movement or find a breezy location like a lakeshore to encourage evaporation. Perspiration draws water out of your body, and it must be replaced frequently. Always carry an adequate supply of water and drink whenever you're thirsty. I think that's the chart. I've seen that above the toilets at Llewellyn. Just
I've seen that too.
yeah, you wanna stay hydrated. Now we're gonna look at the urine color to determine how much water you need to stay hydrated. So the darker the color, that's bad, but it's I've always been, and this may not be 100% accurate, but your body's going to tell you when you're thirsty, absolutely. But if you're outside and you're being active, if you're not sweating, if you don't need to pee, you may not be drinking enough water. So light yellow, good. Little darker, probably need to drink something. Middle yellow color, absolutely drink some more water. The darker yellow, drink lots of water. You are dehydrated. And the darkest yellow, what have you been doing all day? Not drinking. That's what you've not been doing. Absolutely stop what you're doing and drink some water. So let's talk about some of these items, and we're going to drop them into our virtual backpack for our hot day activity. So what would be some of the good things here that we might go ahead and take with us? So I definitely want to have some drinking water. So we'll drag that over there. Probably, we're going to take some sunglasses. Sunglasses might be good. What about, I want something to cover my head, but I'm probably not going to get something that's not going to let my head breathe a little bit. So not a stocking cap, but definitely the ball cap. What if we're out and we're going to be gone a very long time? If this is a long hike, you never know. You want to be prepared. Let's take some water purification filter. And what if we stop and we're going to have lunch or something? We're going to be there for a little while. Let's take the insect netting and maybe some more water. Maybe an extra pair of shorts, something like that. Sunblock is always good. I'm probably not going to take definitely not going to take any snowshoes. Probably not going to take any kind of cold weather stuff. I'm not going to take things that aren't actually things that are going to help me if I'm thirsty. So no soda for sure. I know that makes a lot of people sad. But here's some good tips with dealing with hot weather safety. So in other words, bring plenty of water with you. Bring filters or tablets to treat natural groundwater, or hike to a location that has a known potable freshwater source. Caffeinated drinks like sodas or mildly diuretic. I'm not saying that correctly. Maybe I am. Diuretic, pardon. But that's it's going to take more water out of your body than it's going to replace. So body salts lost to perspiration need to be maintained. So, but you want to avoid things like salt tablets and stuff like that. So wear lightweight, light-colored, breathable fabrics to allow evaporation. Wear a hat for shade and to ward off heat stroke. Use sunscreen with at least a SPF 15 rating. Waterproof products resist sweat, but still need to be reapplied regularly. Lip balm also helps. Polarized sunglasses or a good thing. Bugs love the heat, so bring some mosquito repellent, maybe mosquito nets, mosquito. And make sure that you pitch your tent in the shade, stuff like that. You want to try to stay out of the heat as much as possible to kind of keep heat exhaustion and heat stroke as far away from you and your fun event as possible. So we are now at the halfway point. Congratulations, everybody, to making it this far. So our next section is on hail. In addition to lightning, thunderstorms can also bring other serious hazards, such as hail. Hailstones are formed when updrafts carry ice crystals and supercooled water towards the top of a thunderstorm. As they grow too heavy to stay aloft, the icy hailstones fall to the ground at high speed, often with dangerous results. Hailstones can be somewhat spherical, hopefully not pizza-sized, but often they're irregularly shaped balls of ice and dust, and they can range anywhere from the size of a pea to chunks of ice as large as a softball. So, oh my gosh, yeah, again, let's, the pizza-sized hailstone has got me upset. The largest hailstone recorded in the U.S. was more than 18 inches around and probably weighed more than 2 pounds. So you can see how hail might be a serious hazard when you're outdoors, but it's important to recognize the warning signs of an approaching storm. The best warnings come from current forecasts and weather reports. So monitor them before you actually go on your outing and carry along a personal weather radio for your trek, so that way that you can stay informed about changing conditions. Thunder always indicates danger due to lightning. So if you hear thunder, you should absolutely seek shelter. Though scientists aren't sure why, sometimes the sky appears greenish in color as a thunderstorm with hail approaches, but it's not always a dependable sign. Your best shelter from hail is inside a solid structure and away from glass windows and doors. If you're trapped outdoors, get under cover, but be cautious when seeking shelter in locations prone to lightning, such as isolated trees or metal bleachers. So, thunderstorms with lightning never have hail. Would that be true or false? Obi, what do you say? I said thunderstorms with lightning never have hail.
Yeah, they don't.
False. Well, it's false. All hailstones are perfectly round. Well, that's false. Hailstones can range from pea size to a size larger than a softball. You remember this, Obi?
Yeah, it's true.
It is true. A greenish skies mean a thunderstorm might contain hail. So that's true. It's not always true, but sometimes it's true. The best place under a hailstorm is indoors next to a window. Absolutely not true. Very false. And one of the best outdoor shelters from hail is under metal bleachers. That is also false, just because of the lightning risk. So, our next section is number 6, flash floods.
What's up with you and metal bleachers?
That's just one of the things if you're out at the park. A flood is the overflowing of water onto land that is normally dry. It can happen when ocean waves come ashore, when snow melts too fast, when dams or levees break, or most often when heavy rains cause a rise in water. A very sudden rise in water is called a flash flood, and these can be dangerous because they happen so quickly, usually within a few hours of a rainstorm. Pouring water sweeps across a stretch of high desert mountains. Let me read that again. Pouring rain sweeps across a stretch of high desert mountains. 2 hours later, a flash flood catches hikers by surprise in a deep canyon many miles below the storm. Not all flash floods involve a wall of water. A sudden cloudburst during a slow day-long rain in a city suburb can cause water to rise within an hour. A car and driver attempting a low water crossing can be swept away by rushing water. Intense heavy rain can often quickly overwhelm drainage systems, particularly in low-lying areas such as an overpass. Never drive into standing water that covers curbs. The water is often deeper than it looks, and your car will stall, and your rising water can trap your occupants. Flash floods can be incredibly powerful, changing a dry stream bed into a boulder rolling wall of water in an instant. So if rain is possible, beware of setting up camp in low areas next to rivers or stream beds. When you hike in canyons or other flash flood prone areas, be aware of weather conditions far upstream from your current location. And never drive a vehicle into water, even if it appears shallow. At a creek crossing, it only takes a few inches of moving water to sweep a car off a road. Cars can also be trapped in low-lying areas. So which is smarter? Let's think about this. Which is the smart thing for the scout to do in each of these situations? And we'll drag and drop our stuff to which speech bubble makes more sense. So these slot canyons look awesome. Let's climb down and start hiking. Well, the sun's shining here, so let's get started. Or no, that rain is in the mountains and can rush down into these canyons. So I'm going to say no. We're going to say the rain in those mountains could rush down to these canyons. So do you think it's safe to drive across the road? Sure, it's not that deep. Go ahead. Or, hey, stop. It's too dangerous. You can be swept off the road. Obi, which do you think it is? You think it's
your bike from out of the car.
I don't think you have a bike with you. So we're gonna stay off of there. So B. Stop, it's too dangerous. So which one's this is a beautiful spot. What do you think? Sounds good. These trees will shelter us when it rains. Or B, we should find some higher ground. There's rain predicted tonight. So it might be a nice spot right now, but it might be very dangerous in a few hours, especially in the middle of the night when you're not maybe monitoring the situation. So let's find some higher ground. Section 7, tornadoes. A tornado is one of the most violent acts of nature and one of its most frightening. They strike quickly and can destroy homes and cause major injuries and death. A tornado is a narrow, violently rotating column of air that extends from the base of a thunderstorm to the ground. The water droplets in the column make it visible, and that's where you can actually see the funnel cloud that comes up. Tornadoes can range in size and strength from a huge supercell storms with awesome destructive power down to small, whirling dust devils. The strength of a tornado is rated on the Fujita scale from F0, the weakest, to F5, the most destructive. Large tornadoes can spin at speeds in excess of 300 miles per hour and travel over land at more than 60 miles an hour. Your likelihood of encountering a tornado while camping is seasonal. In the South, it's March through May. And probably in the North, it's the summer months. Sorry. So always monitor weather reports for the possibility of violent thunderstorms before leaving on your outing. And carry a portable weather radio with you if possible. Tornado alerts are issued for thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes. Tornado warnings are given when a tornado has been spotted. If you're outdoors, some warning signs to watch for are the formation of very dark wall clouds, a rotating movement in the clouds, a sudden stillness or drop in air pressure, a loud freight train-like roaring sound, and of course, funnel-shaped protrusions dropping out from a cloud. If there's a tornado warning in your area, or if you see a tornado, these steps could help save your life. You want to get indoors, into a basement or storm shelter, and plan ahead and seek protection at a public shelter in your location if you live in a something like a mobile home or in some sort of other dwelling like that. If it doesn't have adequate structural integrity, it's not safe to stay in there for a tornado. An F5 tornado can clear a normal house down to its slab. If you're caught in a building without a storm shelter, get on the floor against an interior wall, stay away from doors and windows, and cover yourself with a mattress to protect yourself from flying debris. Do not open the windows. If you cannot get indoors, avoid seeking shelter in underpasses, bridges, or park shelters. So like parking garages. They can act as wind tunnels and be ripped apart with you in the debris. Never seek shelter inside a vehicle or try to outrun a tornado in your car, no matter what Bill Pullman tells you. Out in the open, you are much better off finding a ditch or a depression, getting as low as you can, and covering your face until the danger passes. However, if there's rain with a storm, beware of spots that are prone to flash flooding. So, are all tornadoes exactly alike? No. On the Fujita scale, an F5 tornado is more destructive than an F3. Yeah, scales up. Or tornado warning only means that a tornado might be possible in the area. False. Tornado warning means it's coming. A sudden stillness in the air during a storm is a tornado warning sign. Yes. So let's look at our scouts here, and let's see who is in the absolute safest location. So I'm fairly certain we are not supposed to be under a bridge or an underpass. We do not want to be standing out in the open, and we don't want to be trapped inside of a vehicle during that. So again, we want to be laying prone in a ditch or a depression with our hands over our face. Of course, remembering to be aware of any place that might be prone to flash floods. So in this exercise, I think you kind of can select some places where it might be safe to be. So let's just say we definitely, just as we went through earlier, we want to be like an interior bathtub. Where's this guy in the bathtub?
Interior bathtub?
Yeah,
Sure
like,
all bathtubs.
well, I don't know anybody that has their bathtub outside, but you know what they're saying. So do you want to be under maybe a heavy table or something? That would be probably not too bad. That'll give you some protection. Maybe if you do have like a storm closet or something like that, reinforced metal closet, maybe in the basement of the home. So that way, if it passes over the top, at least you're still protected down here at the lowest level. Windstorms, number 8. When you're outdoors, wind can be a welcome friend, like a cool breeze off the lake on a hot summer day. Or it can be a nuisance, like the stiff gusts that make it hard to get your tent up and turns it into a gymnastics exercise, or blows sand into the food you just made. Yeah. But in extreme cases, wind can be a hazard that threatens injury or your very survival. In extreme cold weather, wind chill accelerates the danger of frostbite and hypothermia. If you're on the water, the waves from high winds can swamp a canoe or force a boat far from shore. When you're rock or mountain climbing, sudden bursts of wind can actually just blow you straight off the face of the mountain. And in forests or wooded areas, strong winds can knock heavy branches down into your camp or even uproot whole trees. Wind safety is really a matter of common sense, using your head and being prepared for situations where wind might present a danger. So, so we can click on our stuff here. So click on the weather safety tips that make sense to you. Do we want to monitor the weather upcoming for the area we're going to be camping? That probably sounds like a good idea. Want to be familiar with situations where wind typically occurs, like thunderstorms, things we probably want to be familiar with what might happen. Don't worry about the wind. It's just air in motion. That doesn't really sound right. Check around your campsite for partially uprooted trees or dead limbs. Yeah, I don't want to have anything follow me in the middle of the night. Look for campsites with natural windbreaks, such as hills or large boulders. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Stay off the water whenever high winds are likely. Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. So basically everything but be a dummy and don't worry about the wind. It's just air in motion, right?
What it is.
So let's talk about some traditional weather signs. People have been watching the skies and wondering about the weather for as long as our species has been on this planet. And over those thousands of years, we've learned a thing or two about signs that predict various types of weather. The scientists and meteorologists among us have developed very sophisticated tools and technologies to determine weather patterns and warn us about approaching danger. Some common weather signs and warnings are worth remembering. A greenish sky can mean hail is on its way. A sudden stillness often precedes a tornado. A large hammer-shaped clouds indicate building thunderstorms. If you hear a roar like a train, or tornado can be approaching. There's also a long tradition of folk wisdom about weather, some of which has a scientific basis and some of it doesn't. So, when there is dew on the grass, rain will never come to pass. When grass is dry and morning light, look for rain before the night. What do you think about this one?
Talking to me?
I'm talking to anybody who's listening.
Oh, I'm thinking.
So according to this, it says it's true. When dew is on the grass, rain will never come to pass. When grass is dry in morning light, look for rain before the night. If a circle forms round the moon, 'twill rain soon. And this one is true. Onion skins very thin, mild winter coming in. Onion skins thick and tough, coming winter cold and rough. That's true. I'll have to cut some persimmons open and see if I see the fiddle inside. If clouds move against the wind, rain will follow. That's true. If you're interested in reading more about weather folklore, check the web for additional information. However, be aware that different explanations may be offered for the same phenomena, and not all of them are substantiated. All right, section 10, hurricanes, which is a big concern for us here in the Midwest. Hurricanes strike the U.S. coastline an average of 5 times per year. Usually 2 of those are designated as major hurricanes. Unlike thunderstorms, which can form quickly, hurricanes build over days, far out in the Atlantic Ocean, and are therefore trackable to a large extent. So we have some information here about the hurricane wind scale. So Category 5 is extensive, over 155 mile an hour winds, complete failure of roofs. Basically, you just need to get out of the area. Category 4 is lower, of course. Trees blown down, complete destruction of mobile homes, extensive damage to roofing materials, windows, and doors, complete failure of roofs on small residences. Category 3, large trees are blown down. Those darn mobile homes, they're not faring any better this time. Some structural damage to roofing materials and buildings. And storm surge is typically 9 to 12 feet above normal. Category 2, some trees are blown down. The mobile homes may survive, and there's going to be some damage to your house, but the storm surge is typically only 6 to 8 feet above normal. And Category 1, damage is primary to shrubbery, trees, and foliage, and unanchored mobile homes. So no real damage to other structures. So since this module focuses on weather hazards as they relate to scout outings, the most important thing you can do regarding hurricanes is to make an informed decision about whether to conduct the outing based on a watch or a warning. A hurricane watch means hurricane conditions are possible in the area within 36 hours. A hurricane warning means hurricane conditions are expected within 24 hours. Common sense dictates that no outing be conducted if a hurricane watch or warning is in effect. In fact, if the 5-day weather outlook indicates possibility of a hurricane activity during the planned outing time, it's a good idea to reschedule. So, if caught in a hurricane, be aware of the following. Should you be on an extended outing and get caught in a hurricane, be aware of the following. Tornadoes often spawn out of hurricanes. See the tornado section of this module for instructions on what to do in the event of a tornado. When the eye of the hurricane passes over, it'll seem like the storm has ended, but once the eye passes, the winds will change direction and quickly return to hurricane forces. So don't assume that the hurricane is over at the first sign that the storm is starting to slack. Take a few hours before proceeding. Storm surge, flooding, and from hurricanes actually causes more death than the high winds themselves. So stay away from low-lying areas, creeks, streams, and other inland waterways. After the hurricane passes, avoid weakened bridges and washed-out roads. Stay on firm ground. Moving water only 6 inches deep can sweep you off your feet. So standing water could be electrically charged from power lines that are down. So watch for closed roads once back in your vehicle. If you come upon a barricade or flooded road, turn around. Don't drown. I know. You can get more information about hurricanes from the National Weather Service website. There's the URL, there's the URLs, or from the National Hurricane Center. So, how is the severity of a hurricane rated? Is it rated on potential damage? Is it rated on sustained wind speed, or rainfall, or all of the above? You say D, it's not D. It's actually B. It's all based on the sustained wind speed.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Oh. You might have to retake this module. What's the greatest hazard from a hurricane? Is it storm surge flooding? Is it high winds? Is it tornadoes, or is it all the above? Well, it's the storm surge flooding. That's what more people die in the flooding than any of the other causes or any of the other knock-ons from the hurricane itself. So what's the wisest course of action in a hurricane watch or warning? What is the wisest course of action if a hurricane watch or warning is in effect for a Category 1 storm prior to an outing? Is it to take a weather radio so we can monitor the situation? Is it make sure that there's sufficient shelters in the outing location? Are we going to leave earlier than normal? No, we are going to postpone that event. So that's C. True or false? You should wait a few hours once a hurricane dies down to be sure it's not merely the eye of the storm passing. That's true. Which of the following are hazards to be aware of during or after a hurricane? Are we going to be on the lookout for tornadoes? Are we going to be on the lookout for storm surge flooding? Are we going to be on the lookout for downed electrical wires? I think we're going to be on the lookout for all of them. So D. All right. So let's take a moment to review the weather resources provided. There's some URLs right there. Again, all this training is available out there on the Weather Smart training out through my.scouting.org, where you can get a copy of these URLs if you'd like to do some additional reading. But I want to congratulate everybody because you have completed the Weather Smart training, and you can talk to Sherry, and we'll certainly get everybody ticked off, so that way that you've got your training for this year. So I want to thank everybody for putting up with me as I read through this, and I'm going to pass things back to our wonderful host.
Awesome. Making sure I'm unmuted here. I will get the list to Ashley to record everyone as being trained, that everyone sat through. And I hate to say it, but we'll probably be right back here a month from now. I'm hopeful that we will be able to have our program preview out in Cape County Park. If we do, everyone bring their bucks, because there will be a silent auction. And everyone will get bucks for coming tonight. I have a list. And I have also received a couple photos from everybody that went to Gordonville Grill. So make sure to show me all those, and I will get you some extra bucks. How about that?
Hey, Sherry,
And if anybody has... I'm sorry, Charlie?
If we do, or if we're able to meet in May, which I doubt it too. I mean, who knows? But if we need to move to like Shelter 4 at North Park, which is huge, so that we can spread out, we can do that.
Perfect.
And I tell you what I may go ahead and do. I may just go ahead and reserve. I'll just change our reservation to Shelter 4 anyway, that big shelter in North Park. That way we're covered either way.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlie.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm hopeful that we can meet. There's always food at this one, so don't everybody forget that. And don't forget to bring something awesome from a Dutch oven or something. So see everybody in a month. And anytime, if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, please reach out. We're all at home now, so.
And if for some reason we can't, I'm sorry, if for some reason we do have to do this virtually again next month, we'll have August as our potluck. So we can make sure to still do that, and maybe even have it at the park depending on the weather, and that way people can use their roundtable bucks as well.
Sweet. Or they can just save them for another year.
Or they can do that too. Thanks everyone for coming.